President Trump traveling to Tampa today to host a rally to talk jobs, economy, and a show of force for Congressman Ron DeSantis. President Trump's visit comes ahead of a competitive primary race DeSantis faces against Agriculture Commissioner Adam Putnam for Florida governor for the Republican nomination for governor. Trump's support has had a major impact on the polls. The latest numbers show DeSantis making one major comeback, now up 11 percentage points ahead of the primary election next month amid President Trump's endorsement. The congressman releasing a campaign ad in his race for governor that is going viral, and it's full of a lot of love for the president. Watch this.
Everyone knows my husband, Ron DeSantis, is endorsed by President Trump, but he's also an amazing dad. Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build the wall.
He reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
I just thought you should know.
Ron DeSantis for governor.
Joining me now, the Florida Congressman himself, Ron DeSantis, a member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Congressman, that has sent people who dislike President Trump, I don't care what party affiliation they have, into a frenzy. They are losing their minds about that. But do you risk anything of really going full in on President Trump, although his endorsement of you has been a great benefit to you and your campaign in the polls and even in fundraising?
Well, Dagan, I mean, you know, in some of these things with the political back and forth, you got to be able to take a step back and just kind of laugh at the situation, have a little fun with it. And so that's what we were trying to do. It is a way to introduce voters to my wife, who's my best friend and best supporter, and our kids, because that's an important part of who I am. Obviously, we've run ads previous to this talking about my military service, talking about my conservative credentials. But when you have nonstop ads in a primary season, you know, I think it's good to just kind of take a step back, be able to laugh at yourself a little bit, and have a little fun with it.
Well, Congressman, the joke has always been that politicians go on the campaign trail and hold babies, but you're using a baby, your son, in that ad to maybe make people feel good, no?
Well, look, everyone has said, you know, wow, your wife's beautiful, your kids are so cute and everything, and they are. I mean, I'm very, very proud of my family. We love to get them out on the campaign trail as much as possible. It's not the easiest thing in the world when your daughter's 20 months because she's very active. My sons pretty much go with the flow, so that's a little bit easier. But they're just a really, really central part of my life, and I wanted to let voters get an introduction to them.
Congressman, do you disagree with President Trump on any policy ideas? Can you name one?
I don't agree with anybody on everything 100% of the time. What I've typically done, though, with the president is talk to him privately rather than go kowtow. I mean, the easiest way to get a microphone in your face in Washington is to bash the president. If you're a Republican for CNN and NBC and New York Times, I don't think that's constructive. But there are obviously things that I have disagreed. But you do it constructively, and you try to move the ball forward as best you can.
Do you care to mention any of those things you've had constructive conversations with?
Well, Dagan, one of them that we would probably agree with is, you know, I'm not a fan of farm subsidies, and, you know, to throw billions of dollars in farm subsidies, I want to get away from doing that. You know, so there's just it's just an honest disagreement. You know, there's people in the Republican conference who we disagree with on those things, and so it's fine. But you agree with you know, most of what's going on, and you just try to press forward as best you can.
Well, that $12 billion in farm subsidies is to offset any hit that, say, farmers, soybean farmers and the like would face because of the retaliatory tariffs from China as we've gotten into this tariff fight, trade fight with China. Also, the steel and aluminum tariffs play into some of the retaliation from allies like Canada. But do you agree with that approach? So trade is expected to play a big role in the GOP primary. China has threatened additional retaliatory tariffs against an array of agricultural products that would impact your state. So if you're against farm subsidies, are you against what the president has done in terms of tariffs and the fight that we're beginning to wage with some trading partners?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I think I've been surprised at some of the success he's gotten. I've typically not been somebody that has supported tariffs, and I don't think that's the end state that you want. But I think he's leveraged that, like he did with the European Union, to get concessions. And so if that's what he's able to do, then that's probably going to benefit a lot of folks. If the concessions aren't there, then I think you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to change course. But using it to negotiate, it was not something that a lot of us had thought about previously. He really believes in doing it, and I think that he's been able to get some concessions. So I think we'll see how it goes going forward.
Because I was going to mention that Adam Putnam is the Agriculture Secretary in the state, so this will be an issue in terms of any impact on the agriculture sector in Florida. And critically important, is one of the biggest pieces of the Florida economy. Are people calling your office as a congressman from the state and complaining about the fallout on them, whether they're farmers or not, about the trade fight that's just beginning this year?
Not yet, not really. I mean, I think that there's some folks who are very supportive of doing it politically because they think this has gone on too long. There's other folks who are concerned but want to give the president some runway. So, we'll see how things develop. But I would say, Dagan, ag has been a big part of Florida's economy. Obviously, tourism. I think the thing for the next governor is, how do you expand the economic base? I think we're primed to do very well in financial services. Why would you start a hedge fund right now in Connecticut or New York, given that the SALT deduction is gone? We don't have income tax in Florida. We have a very good regulatory climate positive. We got to do some other things, but I think you're going to see Florida with the right policies really expand economic opportunities in a variety of industries, and that's exciting.